Hello there guys and girls, welcome back to Kitchen Table Modding. This time on the channel we have the Centurion Mark 1 from AFB Club. Um, this is a kit actually I've been itching to get into for ages. As if I'm correct in saying these are the only people who make a Mark 1. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the front of the box. So really nice box art, nice crest of the British Army. Nice few little details about the vehicle itself. So a new turret assembly, a new gun, metal gun, all hatches can be open and closed, secondary ball mounting system. You can either choose between the Polston cannon or the 792 Beza. New dedicated armoured plates, armoured skirts, rear fenders, outlet louvers, storage boxes, etc. Right, on the other side of the box, nice actual photographs of one they have built, detailing the changes, which is really nice. On the end of the box, it is just a miniaturized version of the front of the box. Same on the other side, and on the back of the box, usual manufacturer stuff. Lovely image of the decal sheet, and a final rear side image of the test model they've built, which is really nice. Let's have a look in the box. So I do like AFB Club models because the boxes are very robust, and they do this. So they actually imprint on site, on the inside of their boxes, a huge quantity of the kits they do, which is, yes, very subtle advertising. Well done. But it does show a lot of kits. You may be sat there thinking, oh, what can I pair with this? What do I want to build next, etc. You can flip the lid off and go, oh yeah, actually, you know what? I'll build one of Phobart's Funnies. If you don't know what Phobart's Funnies are, they're Phobart's Funnies. So you've got a snake launcher, carpet layer, another carpet layer, an Avery. There is several more variations. They were all built for D-Day and all had specific purposes for D-Day. I may build some of the Phobart's Funnies because I do like them. They are fun little creations. So, into the actual plastic of the model. Right, what's going to be the best way to do it from top? So, bag numero uno, we have new turret bins, which are really nice. Muzzle for the 17 pounder, the variation of the 20mm and the 792 Beza. Turret panels again, and a nice, nicely imprinted gun mount, which shows the casting texture, and the same of the Commander's cupola. That's really nice. Bag number two, we have more elements for the turret. So, lower turret element, they've even put the weld bead that you can see on the turret, actually on the base of the turret. So it's there, which is a really nice attention to detail, as well as a nice little circular mount for a seat or a figure, if you are so inclined. Then onto the sides of turrets, really nicely moulded. Once again, they've got the raised lips for the weld seams. Upper turret, really nice. That's really, I appreciate that because I know this vehicle quite well from Tank Museum. Really nice detail to the weld beam, weld bead, which attaches around a periscope, which goes onto the upper element of the turret. And then to touch it off, fantastic detailing actually on the cast front of the turret. That is really nice to see, and that will come out beautifully when it's painted. Okay, bag number two, we have running gear. So all the elements of Chieftain suspension, Centurion suspension, not Chieftain, from the actual main basis of the suspension to the road wheels, sprockets, elements which make up the suspension. It's nice to see the way they've been made. I'm assuming, yeah, there is springs in here. So on each end of those, they sit on a spring that they can press, allow one wheel to go up while it tilts the other one forward. Or if both wheels are going up, they can go up together, singly, etc, etc, providing a really nice smooth ride for the gun, keeping it on target. So sprocket, little bit of flashing around the edge of the sprocket itself, but really nice detailing with the bolts on the inside, and even the side which is facing the vehicle, so you won't really see that. Flip it over, pretty much exactly the same. This time you've got the idler wheels, which are nicely detailed, as well as the ginormous hex nuts. Oh, okay, they are separate. I thought they may have been attached to the wheels, but they're not. That's slightly irritating, but oh well. Actually provides a nice detail because they have imprinted every single nut which attaches the hubcap to the actual main element of the wheel shaft. But once again, really nice. Minimal flashing apart from there on the sprocket. The slight annoyance is they've attached these to the actual sprocket itself rather than on the teeth. If they attached the teeth, it would make it a lot easier to snip without having to try and get in there and remove what is left of the sprue. Okay, bag number 3. We have the side skirts for the Centurion. Not really much to say about those. But they have the nice detail on the inside of where the skirts are actually all separate and the attaching points to the vehicle. Rear deck levers and covers, again and again, and the, what are they called? Basically mud guards which go on the back of the vehicle. It's nice to see the ejection pin marks are actually all hidden away underneath. We've not encountered any so far which are above. Okay, what have we got in this bag? We have final drives, fantail, turret, idler components. Okay, so we have the two main side skirts for the vehicle itself. They are separate to the vehicle. So if you could build this potentially as a rusted out range vehicle, you very easily could do by not actually attaching these to the vehicle and having it as a plain hull. And that's just got the cogs turning in my brain. But this is destined for something else, maybe another time. So the final drive casing. So this is the element which is attached to the vehicle, and this is the element which is bolted onto the vehicle. When I get my words out. Same again as the turret, really nice casting detail into the material, as well as all the maintenance plates and whatnot have the corresponding attachment points for nuts and bolts and whatnot. Onto the turret, nice to see the inside is detailed, as well as the exterior, once again open and closed. Front idler mounting points, nicely moulded. The actual plates that are attached into the vehicle are separate, so they need to be glued onto those. A couple of the idler points, and the exhaust brackets. They've actually put a weld bead around the edge of the exhaust manifold. That's where it protrudes from the side of the vehicle. That's a really nice touch. Move that to the side, do that one in a minute. Okay, then on to various miscellaneous pieces. So we've got the supports for the side skirts, some more levers. That would be the exhaust main bodies, as well as pipes and the ends of the cans, as well as multiple little handles, lifting eyes, brackets, radio components, handles, towing strop ends, and light guards, as well as the little hooks for the bars. Flip it over, have a look at this side. Yep, so the exhaust cans, they are multiple parts by the looks of it, and the exhaust fishtail. Once again, really nice crisp moulding all the way around. Even on the tow ropes, they have incorporated detail of the actual cable running around the eyelets on both ends, which is really nice. Then, in this bag, we have quite a lot of big pieces. Let's have a look, see what we've got. Okay, that's the inside. Flip it over. Okay, so in this bag, we have stowage bins ×2, and the edges of the stowage bins, the guards for the exhaust, the rubber bumps for the rear deck to protect the gun, the actual main turret element where your turret flips in, and the rear filler points, as well as the seam of bolts which attach it to an inside bracket, the exhaust loop, radiator louvers in multiple stages, so the actual radiators can be painted completely separately to the actual covering deck itself, the engine deck cover itself, the frontal armour, driver's compartment, the rear upper plate, rear lower plate, and even really nice attention to detail for even the gun mount and the spring where the towing eye is attached, well, towing pin tool is attached. But overall, once again, really impressed with the attention to detail on this particular model. No tiniest little bit of flash on the corner there. Apart from that, really nicely done. Okay, then on to the third bag. Not third bag, last bag. That's slightly puzzling. Okay, so in this bag we have pretty much a copy of what was in the last bag. This is going to take a little bit of figuring out, to be honest, unless they put two different bags of Centurion in this one kit. But looking at this, slightly differences in the details. So these are the stowage boxes. They are different to the ones on the last one, as well as the frontal plate and the engine decks, as well as the main turret surround. That's going to need figuring out. I'll figure that one out. Okay, so okay, right, that explains a lot, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so these are and it's nice they've done this, but it's going to be a bit of a fiddly one. These are actually the rubber tyres for the wheels. All of them are individual and they slot onto the wheel accordingly, so you don't actually have to paint them. They are quite nice on their own. That's a nice little surprise. Decal sheets. Never had a problem with the FB decals, very similar to Tamiya. I think they use the same people to print them. But once again, they include a nice length of rope for your tow ropes. Can't really make them out. I'm not going to pull those out of the bag because I don't want to lose that tow rope. And then on to the last bag. I'm going to pop this one open. Where's my scalpel? Put that away. Okay. So this is the main hull of the vehicle, and some little bits and bobs which have been tucked inside it for packaging purposes. So here we have a nice set of clear parts, commander's cupola for the periscopes, and the flip-up driver's screen for heads-up road driving. That's a nice touch. So what are these? Okay. So I think there may have been a manufacturing issue or a quality control issue, because there are parts in here which are for a much later Centurion with a searchlight attached. So I assume that's going to be the Mark V for Vietnam. That is curious, but we'll figure that one out as we go. So then you get a nice rubberized sprue full of collars, I assume for attaching your road wheels, and drive sprockets and idlers. Really nice, not particularly overly rubberized, but that will make it a lot easier to actually get them in and attached. Springs for the suspension components, actual springs rather than crappy plastic set ones, which allows you to manipulate the suspension accordingly. That's a nice touch and I do like those. Then in another bag we have some actual individual track links, very few of them. I assume they're going to be for applique armour, as some people put it. When they're not, they are just stored on the vehicle because it just makes life easier. And yes, they add a little bit of chunk to your armour. A CNC milled £17 a gun. I'm assuming that's aluminium, because that's nice and light. I do have some magnets somewhere, but I'm not going to fish them out just yet. Really nicely, that's really nice actually, I was quite pleased with that. And they've collared it down at the end for where the muzzle brake will attach. And it's semi-hollow as well. That's really nice. Okay, last couple of bits. Single piece rubber band tracks. Can't really say much for these as they are rubber band tracks and they look like they've show a bit of wear from the actual moulding process themselves. May try and hunt out some aftermarket tracks. These, but they are very simple, glue together the ends. What you see is what you get. Got a little bit of bounce to them, so they should fit okay. But like I said, I will try and see if I can source some aftermarket tracks for this one. Now onto the actual hull of the vehicle. So from the Mark 1 I think through to the Mark 3 had a longer hull than the later variants. But really nice touches all the way around, the brackets, the attachment points, the weld beads around the final drive encasements, and even on the insides here of where the frontal armour and its support brace for the idler bracket goes. That's really nice to see, and same all the way around on the bottom. Beautiful imprinted weld marks, which is fantastic. Trying to actually pick flaws in this now, but I am struggling. But no, really rigid, robust, quite a nice chunky piece. Okay, now in the bottom of the box we have some more shameless advertising. I cannot blame them for their shameless advertising, as it is quite nice to see. Rather than just a plain box, they've covered it with their own products along with product numbers, so you can find that relevant kit in the future. So, instruction manuals. Absolutely beautiful copy of the main box art, as well as a beautiful blurb regarding the vehicle itself. And some really nice going through it to see how they've laid out their instructions. Very logical. Same as there is very clear indications of how parts attach and where they attach to. Okay, I'm trying to figure this one out. Okay, yep. So they've included those sprues because there's commonality between other sprues, and it's easier for them just to manufacture the original sprues rather than put in create a new mold to make new sprues specific for this vehicle when there is other sprues which holds the commonality parts. That's quite clever. And also you get some Gucci spares to have knocking around for if you decide to mess with another Centurion. But no, really beautifully put together and well presented. Very clear, concise instructions on how it all goes together really nicely. And so this is a really nice variation. So you got the Paulson cannon and the Beezer cannon, and it actually says, so the prototype variant, mass produced variant, and the same for attachments to the turret. A nice little parts list on the back, and some colour illustration guide for the painting with various different stages of the vehicle in various different states. That nice little thing AFB Club do. Provide this, which is the colour list. So you got what colour should be the vehicle, etc. And then they've gone through like hobby colour, Mr. Colour Spray, Humbrol, Vallejo, Life Colour, and indicate which which exact colour is the one you require for this vehicle, etc., which is a really nice touch. So then, I'm going to get this mess cleared away and we'll get on with the build.
So ladies and gentlemen, this time on the table we have the Centurion Mark 1, otherwise known as the A41. The A41 being its original designation. And this vehicle came about due to Germany's 88mm anti-aircraft gun, which was basically turned into a tank gun. And the specification for the A41 came about in September 43, when the War Cabinet submitted a request for a new cruiser tank to counter the threat. This vehicle had a specification requiring the vehicle to be able to survive a head-on impact with an 88mm and walk away from it. It also had a specification to have the towing capacity of the standard 40-ton tractor at the time and be transportable on rail systems. In 43, the original specifications were increased to allow for greater firepower and arm protection. In addition, due to heavy losses sustained in the narrow streets of southern Italy, that necessitated that the gearing be improved to allow a faster reverse speed, and also to allow for more valuable space within the hull and for easy maintenance. For this, a Horseman type suspension was selected. So for those that don't know much about tanks and suspension, so the Horseman type suspension is a spring with a wheel on each end, which allows, as one wheel moves up, it compresses the spring, which forces the other wheel to move down, but also allows the wheels to move independently to a degree in a vertical motion. So after those amendments were permitted, the weight went up to 45 tonne. In February 43, the 17-pounder came about, and this round proved to be effective against German armour. Unfortunately, the British Army didn't have a vehicle at the time. The Comet, originally designed to house this gun, was under development. So, as a stopgap, we kind of took one and jammed it into a Sherman turret, which became known as the Firefly. One of those is coming, so I'm not going to go down that road at the moment. So, in 44, 20 of these pre-production variants actually rolled off the production line. So this is where she became a Second World War tank, believe it or not. And in April of 45, 6 of these were shipped to Germany to see trials and potentially combat. But unfortunately, the war ended before they got there. And she spawned the lineage of British Cold War tanks and pretty much became the first main battle tank, as this tank was designed to take on big guns head on, survive it, and keep going. And to top it off, this tank is a legend in its own right. Powered by the Rolls-Royce Meteor engine, producing 650 horsepower. That is the same engine you'll find in a Spitfire, just with the supercharger removed and slightly detuned for fuel economy and reliability, which gives her a power to weight ratio of about 13 horsepower a tonne, which makes her capable of 21 miles an hour. Back then, very fast. Her service record is impressive, to say the least. So she deployed Germany in 45. Her first active time in combat was the Korean War. My grandfather served in the Korean War. He told me stories of when he was alive, still, bless him, of these being used to climb up mountains and being placed as mobile artillery pieces, rather than hauling artillery guns up the side of a hill. They had to drive the tank up there, which is in its own right a impressive feat. So, Korean War, Suez Crisis, the India-Pakistan War, 65, the Six-Day War, the India-Pakistan War, 71, War Attrition, Black September, the Yom Kippur War, Vietnam War, so that would have been the Australians taking the Mark 5s out. Apparently they served impeccably. The South African Border War, Operation Motorman, which was the AVREs, which stands for Armoured Vehicle Recovery Royal Engineers, So standard Centurion tank, just with the main gun removed and a 165mm mortar fitted. 1978 South Lebanon conflict, the 1982 Lebanon War, the first Gulf War. That was the Avries again, AVREs. Two of those were lost due to an accident. They exploded. There are many pictures of that on the internet. I'll drop one in if I can find one. The 06 Lebanon War and the first Libyan Civil War, which is 2011. And that speaks volumes, as this vehicle has served all the way through from 1950s through to 2011 in multiple conflicts, not just with the British Army, but with multiple armies all over the world. Originally, so the official variations of this vehicle go from Mark 1 through to Mark 13. The Mark 1, as you see, being built on the table in front of you. The Mark 2 changed the hull to a fully cast hull. Not cast hull. Turret, and also featured the first stabilized gun in 1946, so well ahead of the curve. The Mark III gained a 20-pounder. Mark IV was designed but never built. It was meant to have a 95mm howitzer. Mark V changed the cupola, added a Browning machine gun, also deleted the door on the back of the turret. Mark VI, up-armoured and up-gunned, and also featured infrared equipment. Mark VII changed the engine decks and added a third internal fuel tank, again 20-pounder. The Mark VIII changed the gun mantlet and the command cupola. The Mark IX changed to the L7 gun, which is 105mm in total. That gun is a legend in its own right. Mark IX, once again, more updated infrared equipment. Mark X, updated infrared equipment. The Mark 12, updated infrared equipment and ranging gun. And the Mark 13 fitted with updated infrared equipment and 50 caliber ranging gun. But enough waffling, time to get on with the painting. Okay then, so on with the painting. So initially primed with black one-shot primer, and at the moment I'm just going over dry brushing in white to bring out those highlights of any hidden details. So go around the vehicle nice and gently with specialised actual dry brushing paint from Citadel. I found this works really well rather than just using generic white paint. But it goes around, it picks out all the details really nicely, as you can see, the little lines and whatnot that you may not be able to pick up later on. So same onto the road wheels, and then onto the upper surface of the gun. Side skirts, there's not real much detail to pick out on these, so I'm adding a little bit of variation to the initial base tone. So then we go on to a nice olive drab, same colour as what you paint any sort of British Second World War tank in. Just going around, nice thin layers, having a little bit of drama with the airbrush at this point, but sort of doing about an 80% mix, neat paint to thinner, and then going into the turret nice and gently, quite a low PSI, building the layers up just enough so the black and white just disappears from view. Once again, having issues with the airbrush, just battling through it, trying to get it done, and trying not to ruin the work. All the way around and onto the hull. So doing the lower glacis paint in round behind the road wheels, getting these suspension components underneath on the front, all the way around. Once again, just nice gentle layering. Same mix again, but just enough to take away the black and the white, but not completely obscure it. If that makes any sense. It's just enough so you can see complete coverage of colour, Now I'm just adding on some realistic rust powder and having that develop. Okay, now we're just painting the straps on the turret where camouflage nets or tarpaulins will be stored. This is just in a khaki brown colour. Onto the turret, we are just doing a panel line wash, going around picking out all the details all the way throughout the entirety of the vehicle. This is literally MIG ammo panel liner. This is the best thing I find for the job. I don't show it often in the videos of doing the cleanups for this, but I literally leave it 24 hours and then go around with a cotton wool bud and wipe the excess off, and it just comes off really nicely. Something I don't show in my videos as well is doing the varnishing, as you can't see anything, it just looks like you're making the model wet. So after that, just go in and paint the periscopes. This is a Citadel colour again. It's actually a contrast paint called Contrast Frost Heart. And then using Leadbelcher from Citadel to colour in the track links, as it gives a nice steel colour. That's way of putting it. As you notice, I've not put the screen on the front. I haven't fitted this at all to the vehicle. And then going on painting tools using various shades of brown and once again the steel colour, and just repeating on the opposite side. So these tools are used in maintaining the vehicles, so the bars and whatnot are used for removing tracks on them. Shovels are used for clearing out mud and potentially digging crew positions in when required. So now it's doing tow rope, trying to keep it all one sort of colour, as these would have been steel, but they don't, they don't show as steel. So if you look at a tow rope on a AFV, it may have all appeared one colour, but if you actually inspect that tow rope closely, it's made up of multiple colours because the cable is multiple different strands. So the road wheels, I'm just going around painting the rubber rims provided, as they were a bit too glossy for my liking, just in a natural rubber tone. Once again, just going to do all those. And then onto dry brushing on the sprockets, as no paint will stick to the teeth, and the same on the idler wheel from where they're constantly rubbing on the tracks. This is Necron compound from Citadel Games. Now the wheels go on. Had a little bit of problems with the idler wheels, trying to get them to fit nicely, and then trying to get. Okay, so now we're on to the tracks using Citadel colours again. Once applied with the track wash, they give a really nice dull steel colour, which I really enjoy and really quite like myself. So I hand brush these rather than paint. Use the airbrush, as I find it's better coverage and you waste less paint. So we go with the track wash just all over on both sides and just leave them to dry. Lovely stuff. And once again, onto the front of the vehicle, just going in the track wash to colour the spare links. And around on the tow cables and bits and bobs, just to dull the colour down a little bit more. Then we come in with some weathering pigments just to touch up the exhaust tones. And on the decals. Decals went on really nicely, really quite surprised, as they didn't look the best, but they went on really nicely, no issues whatsoever, using microset and microsol to make them adhere to the vehicle correctly. Hi guys and girls, please excuse the disheveled mad scientist look. I am currently sweating to death from a fever and major cold and flu. I do apologise about the next couple of clips. I messed up big time and accidentally deleted the weathering footage, so I've had to pull these from when I uploaded them to TikTok. Yes, I do upload to TikTok occasionally under the same name, so please excuse them and enjoy the last bit of the video. Thank you.